Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Celebrity Natal Charts. Today, we are going to be looking at the chart of JRR Token, who is from Bloemfontein, Orange, Free State, South Africa. And it's like, I've actually looked over his chart like a couple times before this reading, and it still blows my mind that he's from South Africa. January 3rd, 1892 at 10 p.m. birth time accuracy poor. John Ronald Reuel Token, born January 3rd, 1982, September 2nd. Oh, and I guess he passed September 2nd, 1973. Was an English songwriter, poet, philanthropist, and university professor. Best known as the author of the classic high fantasy works of The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, and The Silmarillion. He served as the Rawlinson and Bosworth Professor of Anglo-Saxon and Fellow of Pembroke College, Oxford from 1925 to 1942, and Merton Professor of English Language and Literature and Fellow of Merton College, Oxford from 1945 to 1959. He was at one time a close friend of C. Forbes, ranked him a close friend of C. Forbes, and then I guess Forbes also ranked him the fifth top earning dead celebrity in 2009. So I think that's actually like really like Capricorn of him to be like known as like a super rich celebrity, but also like not very uncommon that someone would take the works of a person who's already passed to then exploit them and make a bunch of money. So in Mr. Token's first house, he is the rising Virgo. So this is the Capricorn rising Virgo video. It's been like a really like crazy soul search finding celebrities to do for the Capricorn series, because most celebrities, I guess, no matter what their sun sign is, tend to have like a rising Sagittarius, which makes sense because they're a celebrity. So I was going to do like Eartha Kitt and Elvis and all these other like quintessential Capricorn characters, but they all tend to have the same rising sign. Virgos are pretty much known for being like scribes or authors or writers. So it's not, astrology girlies know like a Capricorn rising Virgo to be a very wealthy post-mortem author is not like a super weird thing for that position to have or to be. I think like Edgar Allan Poe is like a Capricorn, maybe Capricorn rising Scorpio or Moon in Scorpio or something like that. So, like I had said, in his first house he has Virgo, which means that it gets a lot of his self-esteem from virginity, chastity, purity, things like that. His connection to his father, it's probably like um, very cozy, but like infantile, or his father probably tried to like infantize him or make him like act like a child. And then in his second house, he has Libra, so his cash cow, or how he's supposed to make the most amount of money, or what is his cash cow to be milked, is his sense of like charm and flirtation, which could also be like spoken word, poetry, songs. He also has Saturn in Libra, so it's also a limitation for him. Um, Probably finding balance and all of that, or finding a financial balance is a limitation for him. And people are like, oh, as a billionaire, finding financial balance might be difficult for you. And then also it's like, he didn't make most of his money or he's not listed in Forbes until post-mortem anyway. So Libra, second house, Saturn in Libra, says that his finances and finding balance and structure in that was a struggle for him in his life, most likely. I mean, as it is for some people, that happens. Um, but it's also like his priority. So like, how does he overcome these financial balance? It's like finding good partners, finding a good person to be in a relationship with. And so it's like, how do you avoid being a broke fantasy writer? Marry well. which could be a limitation. Maybe he's not pretty enough to marry well. And then his third house, he has Scorpio, which he also has Mars and Uranus and Scorpio. In his third house. So he probably, I guess like he talks about high fantasy and occultism and magic a lot, supposedly from these stories. I mean, he could have like stolen these. He could have like never even believed in elves and stole these stories from somebody in South Africa and just like got them published. But we would assume from his legacy and from his natal chart, honestly, that he would talk about fantasy a lot. Acts like a Scorpio. Also, so this is also how he like crushes through boundaries, is by being like assertive and resentful and vengeful and kind of like wanting to get back at people. So maybe like his family, maybe his family is very like Viper, like I'm good, like I have the Lord of the Rings, I have I have a story called the Lord of the Necklaces, and I have a story called Lord of the like bracelets, and I'm my Lord of the Bracelets is gonna destroy your Lord of the Rings one day. Could have been like the environment that he grew up in, and so he had to be like very like attack. Mars and Scorpio, very vengeful, very get back, and maybe there's little things inside of the Lord of the Rings or like digs or bites at people that he knows that we're not aware about. And in Mr. Tolkien's fourth house, he has Sagittarius. So the fourth house in Sagittarius talks about, like I said, like a competitive home life, competitive with his mother, competitive with his people on his mother's side of the family. Yes, and then so the fifth house, I always like talking about the fifth house because I say the fifth house is the house of sexy distractions. It's also the house of ego where he has his sun, so which he also has in the sign of Capricorn, all in the sign of Capricorn. So Capricorn sun, Mercury in Capricorn as well. So he talks like a Capricorn, he looks like a Capricorn, he acts like a Capricorn. But also it's like Capricorniness, I guess, was also a huge distraction for him. So maybe it's like, he finds the love of his life. She's into flower arranging and gardening. He doesn't see the value and merit of that because, he's like, books. It's all about books these days, darling. Sweetie, if you're not writing books, you're not doing nothing, Because Capricorn's is like very like business baby. I always think of like Capricorn as like a little like 6-year-old in a business suit, and they got a little briefcase, and they're like, whatever is inside their briefcase is what's going to take them to the top. Whether if that's like fantasy novels, popcorn, or like somebody's shoes. And it's like, I don't know, maybe. And then, like whoever thought, Lord of the Rings. 5, 6. So his sixth house, he has Aquarius, where I believe he also has his Venus. Venus and Aquarius people, like I said, like, I guess like I don't know his like life story. I don't know who he's married to. It doesn't say in his bio. So, but so finding a partner should have been his greatest priority. But it was also a limitation and a setback. And Venus and Aquarius, it takes them a very long time to warm up to people. And kind of wants like this awkward tension, friendship, tension, relationship with said lover, which it's like sort of like he needed to get married immediately. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yeah, so Venus and Aquarius, sixth house. So the sixth house is also how you get over your ego, or how you champion the struggles and limitations of sounding and looking too much like a Capricorn, which is like attracting a partner, attracting great friends, which I'm sure maybe he did. I don't know. At some point, Lord of the Rings people, like a lot of fandom, even if not in life. But that, and then his seventh house. So the seventh house talks about his partner. So whoever this partner is that he had so much difficulty attracting and found so many limitations by, I guess he would also be very lucky in finding them to be a Pisces, because he has a seventh house in Pisces. Also, his moon is in Pisces and what as well. And the moon in Pisces also talks to me about like going by a stage name or having a fake name, to the point that I was like JRR Tolkien. I was like, yeah, I don't know his real name. And then, like I said, I had read this chart like 2 or 3 times before I started recording this, and it's John Ronald Rayuel Tolkien, which I guess I would go by JRR too if that was my name. I think I have like a game playing in the background. No, I don't. I'm just hearing things. Cool. Cool. No, just hearing things. That's nice. um, but yeah, and then I was trying to look up his. I have all these like notes saved or whatever, and I was trying to look up his Chinese zodiac sign, and I was like, well, and I got like the wrong sign. I was like, well, I could obviously just go and Google it again and get the right one, but also with all these people being Capricorns, I feel like I would somehow get their Chinese sign wrong anyway because it would be the one before or after or whatever. So maybe it was like just wasn't meant to be in this video. But then also it's like the moon in Pisces, him wanting to keep things secret as well, like his name and maybe his Chinese zodiac sign, maybe it like really offends him or something. So look that up and maybe it's like really offensive in juxtaposition to who he is. But Jupiter in Pisces actually Jupiter in Pisces to me actually says like good luck and fortune through hard times. Like it seems like it'd be like a really good positioning, like very lucky, very auspicious, just like, you know, Jupiter is Pisces' former ruling planet, but it's like really just like the best of luck through the worst of times, which is lucky, which is lucky, like a meteor is falling down from the sky and you're just like right outside of the blast zone. It's like, oh, it's the worst time ever. A meteor fell down from the sky, but Jupiter and Pisces, I get to live through it, I guess. Um, but it's in the seventh house, so like, maybe it's like, very Wuthering Heights or Heathcliff. Like, I found this guy, he's like not the best, or guy, or girl. Let's say guy, because that's the first thing that came to my mind. And like, he's not the best, and I met him during the Depression or during a depression. But I was very lucky to have him, and that's love, and that's my partner. Eighth house in Aries. The eighth house in Aries talks to me about not really having the patience to fully understand things like astrology and occultism. Maybe wanting to blast through it or like fighting really hard to debunk it. And then like making a story like The Lord of the Rings, it kind of seems like uh, I don't want to learn about astrology. I'm going to write astrology and it's going to be Lord of the Rings. And I don't believe in astrology, but everything is astrology. On purpose, very Virgo, very Virgo. Astrology is my aesthetic, but like I don't believe in astrology. And 7, 8, 9, ninth house in Taurus, um, says to me that, yeah, I mean, like, so a lot of his bio on this website, Astro Charts or whatever it is, talks about his like higher education and his time going to college, which he might have taken a lot of time to do. It might have been the entire purpose of him writing these stories were to give him access to higher education and travel, as Lord of the Rings is about travel. And not to make this whole chart about Lord of the Rings, I've actually just have never read or participated in the Silmarillion, which I was like, I'm not like a Star Wars girly or any of those other things. I'm more so like a fanboy of the Silmarillion, or like of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And I was like, what is the Silmarillion? I was like, I don't know anything about Tolkien. I don't know anything about him. His North Node is also in Taurus, so sort of his destiny to take things slow, make a lot of money, eventually be a cash cow for these movies, which apparently the movies they didn't get paid a lot of money to do, for whatever reason. And he has a 10th house in Gemini. So 10th house in Gemini, I think, very clearly talks about like fame and popularity, especially amongst his own family and people where he's from, like hometown hero. Even though I just naturally assumed because of the heavy English casting of the Lord of the Rings movies. So not even the Hobbit movies or whatever, just like Lord of the Rings, the movies from the 2000s. I just assumed he was from England. And then it's like all these people who are like Anglophiles. I mean, I guess it's like the English crown and whatever, South Africa, but still, it's like he's not from England. I didn't know. So weird. Anyway, and then so he also has Neptune, Pluto in his midheaven, also in Gemini. Neptune in Gemini talks about like his family, or from speaking, or being an orator or a writer, getting him on television or pushing him towards notoriety and fame, giving him time to chill and to wait and to learn more about spirituality, which he might not have ever taken because of his Aries positioning we just spoke about, 8th house in Aries positioning we just spoke about. But then also Pluto in Gemini talks about like an obsession with being young and youthful, or small and cherubic, like a hobbit or an elf. Well, I guess like in my mind, like a Keebler elf, but I guess like Keebler elves are like more hobbit than anything else. In his 10th house, maybe that's something he wanted to do. I think they do have like a Disney, like a Lord of the Rings Disneyland that is like you can go into like hobbit houses or something. So maybe that's like he wanted to actually create the world that he fantasized about in his books. And in his 11th house, he has Cancer. So Cancer in the 11th house talks about like a friendship with his mother, but maybe like a sort of spiteful, competitive friendship with his mother. A lot of girlfriends, that says to me. So it also says to me, like in his vibration, like his energy that he exudes, he maybe had like a very like feminine vibration, maybe very tiny Tim, maybe his hair was long as it could stand, or if not, maybe that's what he would want to have had, like long flowing hair and very romance novel, ride on the back of horses, very Lord of the Rings. And in his 12th house, he has the 12th house of Leo and also the sign of Chiron. So it's almost like, I think maybe, I'm sitting here and whatever, he didn't get into Forbes in 2009, like 30 years after he had died, which I mean, like, what is Forbes? He's also his friends with him, so it's kind of like spiteful too, a little bit, it seems, if that story's correct. And, but it's like, it's almost like he knew and had the power to skyrocket or cannon people to fame, even himself, but it's something he struggled with and didn't really want to do because Chiron knew like all of the limitations that would later impose. So maybe it's something like maybe his mother was a really famous author, or his grandmother, or was just like he knows about people who are famous for telling stories and the fate that followed them. So that is what I see for Mr. Tolkien. Thank you so much for listening, liking, sharing, and subscribing. I will hopefully see you in my next video about some celebrities. So some celebrities we got lined up here have very interesting charts and very interesting energies. We got Mel Gibson, who is the rising Cancer. We have LeBron James. Ooh, LeBron James. With the rising Gemini, and Jason Bateman. Oh, I really feel like these videos, it's like those holiday movies from like the mid 2000s or whatever, where it's like Valentine's Day, the movie, Jason Bateman, LeBron James, Mel Gibson, Carlos Mencia, Dave Chappelle, Pizza Rat, like. But then even myself, like, I just did the Muhammad Ali video, and I was doing it. I got so excited. I was like, "Ooh, Muhammad Ali!" It's like almost like he's here. And then I have to put this somewhere. It's like a future TikTok, but I'm just gonna put it here too while it's on my mind as like a voice note. But it's like I did the Shakira video, and I was like, "Oh, Shakira! Like, who cares about Shakira anymore?" You know what I mean? And then I saw this TikTok, and it was like, if you're lacking in energy and you need like an energy push, listen to somebody who's sun sign matches your Mars sign. And I was like, okay, like who is that? And I was like, oh well, like my Mars sign is Aquarius. I was like, who? Like Paris Hilton? Like that song is nice, but I don't know if it really like pushes my energy forward. And then I was like, oh yeah, Shakira. So I started listening to a little bit Shakira, and then I was like, oh yeah, like that Waka Waka song. I was like using that to like push myself a couple years ago through some like pretty Jupiter in Pisces time. So I was like, okay, like Shakira's magic, and I'm sorry about all the like mean things I said about her in my video. But so, Mr. Not Edgar Allan Poe, or whoever this is, JRR Tolkien, he has Venus in Aquarius. So, what would have helped him galvanize, strengthen, and embolden his love energy as him falling in love and finding a partner was so prudent into his life based on this poor accuracy natal chart would be to probably listen to Shakira or like it must be difficult when there's like I don't know like what the variety of music was, but you like obviously don't know the like jam band at the bar's zodiac sign. So listening to some Shakira would have been really great for Mr. Tolkien. Shakira, Paris Hilton. There's a bunch of other famous. There's like a lot of famous Aquarius I did in my exploration of celebrity natal charts for Aquarius that I've obviously forgotten. Bruno Mars maybe, and Rachel from Friends, maybe Ugly Cat is a song to get you going. Which is, I know Lisa Kudrow, who's a Leo, but or she might be a Scorpio, Leo, I don't know. Anyway, thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and listening to me. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.